Symmetrical Spooky Houses Day 2. Today we will use markers, colored pencils, or crayons to add color to our spooky house drawings using our very best artist skills. And we will create spooky details in our background and around our art. Let's review. Last week we learned about symmetrical and asymmetrical art. Can you tell by looking at these two paintings which one is symmetrical and which one is asymmetrical? These are created by the very famous artist Georgia O'Keeffe. She was a master at creating both symmetry and asymmetry. Which one do you think is symmetrical? Take a look and take a guess. If you guessed the one in the red rectangle, you are correct. The yellow line down the center shows the line of symmetry. Even though this artwork is not identical on both sides, it is really close. Symmetrical means it needs to be the same or just about the same on both sides, sort of like twins. The blue rectangle shows asymmetrical painting by Georgia O'Keeffe. If you were to draw a line down the center, you would see that there are about the same amount of lines, shapes, and colors on each side, but it is not identical. That is why it's called asymmetry. Last week, we started our symmetrical spooky houses using basic geometric shapes to build our houses. Today, before you start to color, you need to add details to your yard and your sky. If you have not started drawing your house yet, you need to do that lesson first. Let's get started drawing.
Okay, friends, we are going to color our spooky houses today. I would like you to take some time to try to finish up any detail in the yard you have not had a chance to do. I'm going to really quick show you how to do a spooky tree. So if you have not had a chance to do that, I'm going to do mine in a gray marker. And I wanted you to understand how to make a tree. We have spent a little bit of time in this in school, but it might have been a while since you've had time to really draw a real looking tree. So kind of like doing doodle trees, except to do a spooky tree, you actually need to add branches. So we start off with a Y-shaped tree, kind of like this. So you're drawing the letter shape Y, and the bottom part is thicker where you want it to be almost like a strong tree trunk. And then you can even put the roots going into the ground if you want to show that. But then after you get that basic Y shape, you go up and you split each branch into another Y shape, like this. Now what's going to make this look spooky is how I curve my branches. So I'm going to go up again into another Y shape. At the end of each branch, you add a Y shape. So once I have a few branches, then I can go back and thicken up the ones I already have and start to make it look spooky. Here, I'm going to use a thicker black marker. And the way that you make it look kind of spooky is by making the branches a little twisty and wiggly so they're not perfectly straight. You want them to look a little jaggedy. And you keep adding more using that Y shape. So you don't have to use just perfectly smooth lines to make this, because you want it to have kind of like an unusual texture, like a crickety old tree. And the more little crickety old branches you add on it, the more spooky your tree will look. I like doing mine with gray to make it look kind of spooky, or you could use your black marker to make it look kind of spooky. And then we're going to go ahead and add color to ours too. So after you outline everything, all of your detail, you're going to go ahead and add color. I have not done my spider web yet, so I'm going to do that. One of the things that artists do before they add color is they take a eraser and you erase all of your pencil lines. So either just your black eraser or the eraser at the top of your pencil. You can erase any pencil lines that you don't want to show underneath your color, anything that you don't need anymore. Sometimes when we trace with a black marker, we don't use all the pencil lines that we thought we were going to use. And so going back in and getting rid of all of those pencil lines really helps make it look nicer. Another thing I want you to think about is making sure that you have some type of a line that separates your sky from your ground. This is called a horizon line, and the horizon line is usually always used in a piece of artwork where you have some type of sky and ground. A lot of times the horizon line is flat, like it is here, but it's not always flat. Sometimes if you have a landscape that has mountains in it, your horizon line will be bumpy, or if it has hills, it'll be bumpy. But you're going to take some time making your area around your house actually look like a spooky yard. So that's why I went ahead and added a walkway there. And then the clouds in our sky. And one thing I wanted to show you today was how to use those markers and colored pencils or crayons together again to make your house look really, really cool. So instead of just coloring the whole thing in crayon or the whole thing in colored pencil, I want you to use a combination of colored pencil and marker. So like my moon, I'm going to give it a little bit of a yellow outline. And I gave my clouds a gray outline. Now the moon's actually going to stay white. Like that. And my house, you have to think of a color that really makes you think of spooky houses. You could have it be black. I mean, that would be totally spooky and fine. Or you might use another color like purple if purple reminds you of Halloween. I think I'm going to use purple. But instead of just coloring my whole house in with the purple marker, I'm going to use the purple to just accent different areas like around the edges or my bricks or my window frames. This is sort of like a big kid way to learn how to color. I teach this to a lot of my older students too. You see the way that really makes it stand out and show up better? Now we're not going to leave the middle space between it white because that would be boring and then it would just look like a house that was outlined in purple. We're actually going to take either a crayon or a colored pencil. Let me use my darker purple. That's actually blue. And you're going to color in the white space with a crayon or a colored pencil. Now if you went ahead and already colored yours and you say, oh no, Mrs. Kelly, I already colored my whole thing in colored pencil, that's okay. You can still go back with marker and add some detail, colored marker around your edges like I am here. That just gives it a really cool effect. And another thing that's cool to do is to add a different color around your window frames, because a lot of houses have different colors around their window frames. So I'm going to actually make my window frame black since I really want my window to stand out. I'm just going to go ahead and color it in. Sometimes window frames are white, sometimes they're black, sometimes they're a different color entirely. like blue or whatever color the person wants on their house. And since this is your spooky house, you could color your window frames any color you think would look really cool. And then another fun thing to do with the marker, after you just add little details of marker, is if you want it to look like there's a light on in the window, you can color with yellow, and it will make it look like kind of glowing in nighttime when you're all done with it. So use your time to do your best, outlining with your colored markers, coloring with your colored pencils or crayons on the inside, and then think about how could you do the sky to make it look really spooky. I love to do a nighttime sky with purple, black, and a little bit of dark blue. When you mix these colors together, they look like real nighttime. It doesn't really matter which color you start with. I'm going to do a little tiny spot here around my moon and my clouds so you can see it. But you're going to mix all three of these together. So this right here, this is violet, purple, I'm just going to color in this little space. And then this is the blue. And I'm going to mix it with a little bit of blue, and you're going to see it's going to get a little darker. It's already starting to look like nighttime. You might say, well, Mrs. Kelly, why am I not just using marker to color in my sky? Because it will be too much marker. You can't really mix and blend colors with marker very easily. And I really want you to use your markers to make your details on your house stand out. Because the sky is supposed to just be like more in the background. But if you want to make that spooky night sky, you can mix the purple and the blue and the black together and then leave your moon glowing white. And it should look really cool when you're all done with it. I hope you guys have a wonderful time coloring your houses. I can't wait to see pictures of them when I have you guys send things in. In a couple weeks from now, we're going to teach you how to take photographs of your artwork and make like a little video out of it. And it'll be really fun because we'll be able to see all of the really cool things you made. But for right now, just keep your beautiful drawing in a safe place or hang it up in your house to display it to your family. And I'll get to see it soon. Have fun drawing. Bye-bye, boys and girls.